All right, hey, welcome back to Car Talks, where I rant, ramble, rave, and word vomit my thoughts on training, life, and fitness. I always feel like I'm wearing the exact same clothes when I film all these. One, because sometimes I do film multiple of these in one car trip, and then two, it has been raining here for like 14 days straight, so I'm always wearing a rain jacket. Anyway, something to think about today is mobility and using exercises to increase your mobility, because I think a lot of times people just sit there and they foam roll and they stretch and they think it's going to fix their problems, and it just doesn't. If a foam roller worked, you'd only have to use it once, and there'd be no foam roller market. But it's just something to think about, because if you program your exercises correctly, if you choose and select the right exercises, then you're going to start to increase your mobility. Because what mobility is, it's the ability to be stable and actually get into and out of positions safely. So if you can't get into a position safely, your body doesn't want to go there, right? That's why you can see people, and I have a great example of a gymnast I used to train. That girl was the most flexible individual I think I've ever met, but you put a bar on her back and she could not squat low to save her life. She wasn't stable. She had tons of flexibility in her hips, but she didn't have the prerequisite stability and mobility to actually get into a deeper squat position to successfully squat low. Now, we're not going to get into squatting high and low. We're not going to talk about that. But being able to select the exercises that add to your mobility is something that's really, really crucial. So I like to think about it, and this kind of was sparked off somebody sending me a video to breakdown of their snatch. Shout out to Lee Pinkham. So one of the things is that, if we get into certain positions, especially shoulder mobility, right? Like, you've got to work through different ranges of motion, and you have to think about what's going on. So, the snatch is one that requires a lot of overhead mobility. The clean and jerk requires a lot of overhead mobility. Certain things like that, the exercises you select to support those muscles and support the tissue that holds that shoulder girdle into place gets really, really important. So the same thing could go for your hip, the same thing could go for your knee, but understanding that mobility isn't always a flexibility issue, right? There's a stability component there. So if you start selecting exercises, you're not going to go joint by joint right now, but if you select exercises that can help improve your mobility instead of just stretching and foam rolling the daylights out of your body, you're probably going to get some better, longer lasting changes, and they're actually going to contribute to performance. So just something to think about today. We'll talk about some actual specific exercises that we can do later down the road for your mobility. But until next time, we'll see you in the passenger seat.